We're officially 1 month in the NFL season, and we are chock full of injuries, and things like injuries are resulting in Najee Harris chalk week, guys. We got a lot to talk about today on this video. Of course, we're going to do like we always do on a Sunday. We're going to talk about the projections and the ownership projections, review all that from Stochastic. We're then going to hop into the world of the optimizer, the solver, going to optimize some lineups. We're going to sim some lineups. We're going to go through every QB stack one by one in order of the games to try to find the best lineups for each QB. It's your Sunday final takes here, guys. Let's get into it. I'm exhausted. The wife's out of town. Went to go see Stevie Nicks with my mother-in-law. So I've been up since up since 5 a.m., anxiously awaiting the child waking up. And we got a babysitter here now. He's not in the room with me. But we got some injuries. Established the run. Shout out ETR here, of course, part of our data provider that we use. Of course, the solver. Check them out. But let's look at their injury updates. Expected to play Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave. The Olave one I've seen both sides of in the last couple hours. Do you think he goes here? Seems like they were exercising some caution after he pulled up lame with his hamstring on Friday's practice. Unlike Devontae Adams, who pulled up lame on Thursday's practice, he's not going to play. Olave, it looks like, is going to play. Jordan Love trending towards playing. Justin Herbert trending towards playing. Debo. Rashad White expected to play, which I was really hoping we got the illness out for that one. Rashad White, a late-breaking illness, but he knows if he doesn't play, Bucky Irving probably takes his job. Bucky also had a hamstring thing earlier in the week, but it seemed like that was another precaution one. He should be good to go here. Keenan Allen supposed to be good to go coming off that heel injury, which has now plagued him for about a year and change. We'll see if he can survive this one. Looked great in week one in terms of the usage form. Did not look great in terms of results. This match for Chicago today against the Rams, though, should get the results if he gets that usage again. Deontay Johnson expected to play. Gabe Davis, Sam Laporta, and Kenneth Walker returning, which probably instantly cuts your Charbonnet value exponentially. If I had to guess, Walker probably reclaims 80% of the role. Charbonnet keeps about 20%. If you're lucky with Charbonnet, 40%. And if you're unlucky with Walker, I think he gives up maybe 50% would be the worst way that could go. A.J. Brown out, so Jahan Dotson, the functional wide receiver one for Philadelphia today. Joe Mixon, game time decision. That is a crucial one. Thankfully, we'll know in the early game window. Should know by 11:30 East Coast time if you're watching whatever content you are out there. But Joe Mixon, going to be an important one because right now Cam Akers projected to be very highly owned. And Tyler Huntley starting on Monday Night Football. That doesn't matter today, but it will matter soon. Let's go to the projections, though. Take a quick look here. What we're seeing, of course, according to our friends at Stochastic. Check them out. Link in the description for 15% off. Use the promo code SPLASH. They have no coupons going, no discounts going for themselves right now. Only affiliates like me have a discount. So check it out on Stochastic. 15% off. Link in the description if you want their data or their tools. Stuff like the single lineup generator does a good job, even though, of course, I use the Sims Max package here, which I do swear by if you just want to get lineups fed to you that are well represented according to data. That's what you can do with Stochastic. Shouts to chat as well. I've been kind of going fast here because I am just trying to stay alive here. Eddie Mush. I don't know that name. Did you change names, Eddie, or are you a new sign-up? Either way, I appreciate you, Eddie, here. Appreciate our guy Jonathan asking for some likes. Appreciate all you guys being here, of course, with me on a Sunday. And I am still grieving here, guys. Of course, the dog, the fucking kid today asked me, where's Penny? Thanks, Luca. 2-year-olds, 2.5-year-olds grasp on death. Not the strongest, but appreciate all the kind words from you guys over the last few days here. And I'll take some more. I'll take some dead dog super chats if you want to give them my way. We got nothing heals the pain of a dead dog. Okay. So you were Cats before. Okay. Eddie Mush. Now I have to get used to it. I feel like, didn't you change your name once before too? You're a name changing boy. Keep me on my toes. All right. We got Kyler Murray back to being the top projected player in the slate. It had flipped briefly on Friday. I was so proud of my boy Jaden Daniels, but now it does look like Kyler is back to being the top projected player once again. Vegas total men moved a little bit as well. Where are we at for Washington, Arizona? Of course, Washington, Arizona, the game I expect to go off the most. I don't care about Darnell Washington. 22.8 implied points for Washington. 26.3 for Arizona, which is basically where they've been all week. So I'm not sure what made them update the projection to put Kyler Murray ahead of Jaden Daniels, but there we go. My boy Jaden at number 2 with a 3.3x value. Going to come up a lot in optimizer because he's basically the top value relative to salary on the slate. Bijan Robinson, number 3, a player I'm not as into as the field's going to be. Seems like a pretty lofty projection for him, given his goal line role as well, or lack thereof. But Bijan coming in at number 3. Breece Hall, a little bit of the squeeze from Braylon Allen coming in lately. He's number 4 with a 20.6 projection. And number 5 is Kyron Williams. I don't see how you could have Kyron Williams have that projection be this high, to be honest. I think Kyren basically, it works out well for him if the Rams dominate this game, kind of like they did with the Niners, keep the Niners at bay, keep Chicago at bay. It's easy to do, but I think it's still a projection that reflects a particular outcome. And I'm not sold that Kyren pays off that 20.4 point projection in a game script where Chicago goes nuts. That said, for the Rams, I have to point out Kyren, the workload in the red zone, 8 red zone intended touches a game, 3.7 inside the 10-yard line. He's got the best red zone workload in football. But Kyren a little too high. You think Brees is a little too high? I get the Brees part more than I do Kyren because I don't think Brees is going to be game script dependent. I think Kyren is going to be a little more game script dependent. Our relative positions, top 5 QBs right now. Again, we'll go through this fast today. We went in a lot more depth on Friday, so I'll spare you that. Kyler Murray, number 1. Jaden Daniels, number 2. Jalen Hurts, number 3. Joe Burrow, number 4. Good matchup against Carolina. I took Andy Dalton a few Battle Royale drafts I did. Patrick Mahomes at number 5. Mahomes probably the one I believe in the most. A player who doesn't often hit over 20 fantasy points. They've got him projected for under 20, but a matchup against the Chargers, a defense that has been good on the year, and a KC team that I still expect, despite the Chargers D being good. The offense, I don't think is good enough to keep up with the Chiefs. So to me, seeing Mahomes be in an environment where he's going to pay off a $7,100 salary, when you have Kyler here, when you have Jaden here, when you have Joe Burrow, when you have Andy Dalton, when you have Justin Fields as a lever point against Najee Harris, I think there's a lot of ways to go that are better than Mahomes, but you guys out there, the public likes Mahomes a lot more than I do. I just have to point it out every time. I keep seeing this happen, and then it ends up being wrong every fucking week with Mahomes. RBs, Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, Kyren, Alvin Kamara, number 4, Jordan Mason, number 5. Mason sliding behind a little bit will still probably come up a lot in an optimizer because he's one of the better values at that $6,700 salary for him. Saquon at number 6. So all the people out there who love Saquon, another week here where I don't think the projections and the salary will drive people to Saquon. If you go to Saquon, you're going to be a little more contrarian. I get the logic. Saquon's been efficient so far this year. People have a hard time, by the way, separating when I talk about Saquon. I don't think Saquon is a good football player functionally because when you ask him to do a lot in bad situations, he doesn't come through for you. He also blows games like he did a couple weeks ago, not catching that pass that would have sealed the game for Philadelphia in week 2. But then you also have people that really love him. You can see here in the projections where it's like he's so high priced. I bet people still play him a lot, but projections would have him as number 6 on the slate. So again, fine tournament play for the usual reasons, but because it's Saquon, because people think he's been crushing, in reality, he's getting blocked pretty well, getting pretty good red zone work, but still not even as good red zone work as a Kyren Williams. I think Saquon's trappy, but if he's going to be the 6th projected guy on the slate, if he doesn't pick up ownership, he's okay. If he ends up 20% owned, people are being led to the slaughter by just the casual love of Saquon Barkley every week. Top receivers right now, Rashee Rice still number 1. Again, I have a pretty big issue with that one. Chargers have to be competitive in that game for Rashee Rice to get anywhere where he needs to go for you. Justin Jefferson at number 2. Could take a shot on that one, though I do expect Minnesota or Green Bay be a little more defensively minded than people realize. Jamar Chase at number 3. Cincinnati, Carolina can shoot out with Andy Dalton putting the pressure on the other side. Nico Collins at number 4. One of my favorite plays of the week going against Jacksonville, who's been awful with man defense. Also no Tank Dell in that game. So Nico, I would guess, doesn't get quite as chalky as he could get. Maybe the hamstring stuff keeps people off a little bit as well. But Nico, to me, probably my favorite wide receiver play on the week. And Marvin Harrison, not too far behind for me and not too far behind the projections. 17.2 point projection to $7,500 salary for him. We'll look at tight ends. We'll take a quick look at top values. We'll get to ownership here. Just want to set the table accordingly, guys. So bear with me if the start's a little bit slower than you'd like. You want to get to the lineups. I get it. Dallas Goedert, number 1 to project the tight end. It's a bad week at tight end, guys. Dallas Goedert, number 1, 13 fantasy points, 2.55x value, $5,100 salary makes it tough. Goddard, you'd expect to be the primary target this week. But again, if Jahan Dotson gets to work, if Paris Campbell gets to work, if they lean on Saquon, those are all ways that Dallas Goedert gets less production. And Dallas Goedert could have a median outcome game. And somebody else here has a spike week at tight end, Travis Kelce, perhaps as a lever against Rashee Rice. There are ways to go that are not Dallas Goedert is how I feel about that. Brock Bowers at number 2. He should become the alpha target earner for Las Vegas again. As I mentioned earlier in the video, Devontae Adams was ruled out as of Thursday. Hurt his hamstring. Also some trade rumors floating around him. I'm not sure that's the reason why. But Adams is out. Bowers probably becomes a top target. And we saw last week, even though Cleveland's defense is good, you feed a top target who has skill well, like Malik Neighbors last week against Cleveland, you'll get results. So Bowers, to me, I think a strong play here. Paying up to be contrarian if Dallas Goedert is chalk, I think is a good move. Travis Kelce at number 3, George Kittle at number 4, Dalton Schultz at number 5 are your tight end projections right now. And really this week, I mean, it's really the case any week. play whoever you want at tight end is really how I feel about it. But I think Kelce, to me, the most game theory sense here, he won't be too highly owned. People don't want to go there right now. In reality, if he has even a passable game, that sucks a lot away from where Rashee Rice's upside is. And I think that could be the case today. Even though if I don't know that Kelce has the most explosive ceiling, 2 touchdowns in the game against the Chargers, I think is very much in play. Is it gay how much I worried about Deontay Johnson's groin? No, I think that's progressive, very 2024. Proud of you. If Mixon plays, how much Mixon are you going to? I don't think he'd be a priority play on the slate. He won't be owned, so I guess that's a positive. I mean, the spot against Jacksonville would be good. I would worry a little bit, though, if they don't push him all the way here. Right now, he does have a projection from Stochastic, so Stochastic is assuming that he gets in. They got him at 13.4 points and Akers at 5.01. I don't think Mixon is a play to jam in right now. I think coming off of an ankle sprain, it's a little bit risky, but I get the logic of flocking him right away against a spot too, where Jacksonville, I do assume that they get beat down once again here with them going the wrong way. And Houston likely able to take advantage of what Jacksonville's biggest weakness is, which again, they play man defense at a 45% clip. 43% of the time they're playing man coverage. And that's like pure man too. That's cover 0, cover 1, man cover 2. Because I do it a little bit differently than some other people do out there. So, like, they're just playing man. They're going to get killed. If Nico Collins gets the ball in the range, if Diggs gets the ball in the range, Mixon could put up 2 touchdowns. So I get the logic. Taysom Hill to Galaxy Brain. I don't think the last that we had Taysom, he wasn't expected to play. He's got a projection now. Okay, so he's got a 5.2 point projection. Yeah, I would say it's definitely to Galaxy Brain. It can hit for sure, but the workload hasn't really been there for him. 5.5 intended touches a game, none in the red zone. That's not really when you want to play Taysom Hill. I guess he could theoretically take some work from Kamara with Kamara being banged up. No, don't know it's the most likely, though. Shout out guy Tyler. Appreciate all you guys being here. And again, quick plugs real fast because I put the show on and basically with, being a smaller YouTuber, YouTube money doesn't do it. So you guys, if you want to support the show, check out Stochastic at 15% off all the affiliate links here that I have in my description. Support the show. So that's Stochastic, 15% off the promo code SPLASH. The Solver as well. You don't get any discount on there, but you do support the show. Check out the Solver as well. You'll see that in a moment on the screen. Of course, Underdog too. Check that out. Underdog promo code SPLASH for $1,000 in bonus cash right now. But please do check it out and hit the join button as well if you want to support the show. But I'm doing the best work I can here, but you guys helping me out too. The push-pull of it all. Give me a reason to keep doing this would very much be appreciated. Najee Harris at number 1. And seeing Tyler made me think of that, by the way. So blame Tyler for the plugs. But Tyler supports the show so much. I wish you were all like Tyler. Najee Harris at 35%. Bijan Robinson, number 2, 28%. Deontay Johnson, number 3, projected for 26%. Rashee Rice, number 4, projected for 24%. And number 5, Kyron Williams, projected for 21% ownership right now. One guy I'm a little bit surprised to see this low, but it makes sense with the other RB plays in the slate. Brian Robinson Jr. does consolidate enough of Austin Eckler's role theoretically today. Eckler out with concussion. Robinson overall has been getting pretty good work as it is. Brian Robinson on the year, getting 17.7 intended touches a game, 0.06 EPA per rush, 0.14 EPA per pass, 3.7 intended red zone touches a game, 2.7 of which are inside the 10-yard line. The game that should be high scoring, Brian Robinson to me is a player where people are going to go to Najee Harris a lot, and I get the logic. Again, Pittsburgh is playing an Indianapolis pass defense that's really bad. It allowed Caleb Williams to get going last week and actually win a milli maker. In this case here for Najee Harris, I think he benefits from what should be positive production. I think he concentrates Jalen Warren's role. I'm really not sold on Najee Harris chalk. So this is going to be the first take. It's final takes. It's on the title. It's on the thumbnail. I really think we are walking into a Najee Harris buzzsaw. So Najee at this level of chalk, if we were to say he consolidates Jalen Warren's workload and his, you'd theoretically be getting his 21.3 intended touches a game, adding in 6.3 from Jalen Warren. Now, to be clear, I'm not sold on that. I think there's a good shot we just see Cordell Patterson soak up all those snaps. Last week, I think it was 20 snaps, a little bit more than that for Jalen Warren, about 20 snaps for Cordell Patterson, 40 snaps for Najee Harris. So if Najee were to take all that Jalen Warren workload, it would make sense. Najee also getting 3.3 intended red zone touches a game, one of which inside the 10-yard line per game. Jalen Warren, 0.7 red zone touches. So maybe he takes that in. You combine that all together, though, I still don't think, even if you were to say Najee and Jalen Warren, one player, I don't think it actually is the best running back of the slate. So to me, Najee chalk, if you were to take him out of your player pool, I wouldn't be mad at you. I get the value. Getting might make lineups work. But right now, I have to say, like, Najee Harris chalk to me does not feel good. Arthur Smith offense chalk does not feel good. I think that I wouldn't say it's a trap because I think there's worlds where it could certainly hit. But I need to warn you guys right away. I don't have good vibes about Najee Harris, number 1. Top owned QBs, we'll run through these real fast. We'll head to the solver in a moment. Kyler Murray, Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy in that order. Only Jaden and Kyler expect to be over 10%, which is not a surprise given that game's got a 50-point total. It kills me because I really would like to have a window where I could get tournament winning Jaden Daniels more. But in reality, it kind of feels like playing the QB from Arizona, Washington. A little bit of a fish move unless you're going to get low owned, unless you're going to play your Noah Browns, your Michael Wilsons, your whatever. Think these guys have the best shot to win a tournament with this much ownership. You're unfortunately probably going to do better with other stacks, so that sucks. But that's your top 5 at QB. Murray, Jaden, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy. Again, according to Stochastic, check them out. RBs, top 5. Najee, number 1 again. Bijan, number 2. Kyron, number 3. All these guys expect over 21%. And Najee expect to be about a third of the field. I do think Najee doesn't creep up to 50. I don't think he gets like that Jordan Mason range for what it's worth. But 33% Najee, a lot of fucking Najee when he, again, mostly sucks. Looked better the last year and change, but he still mostly sucks. Breece Hall at 19%. If I had to guess, it comes a little bit lower with the price tag being what it is. And I think a little more Saquon coming in. If I had to guess, 7% ownership feels light for me with Saquon. We'll see what the field does. Chuba Hubbard, number 5 at 19%. So here's really your chalk RBs. Najee, Bijan Robinson, Kyron, Breece Hall, Chuba, Jordan Mason, and Brian Robinson, less chalky. Maybe he picks up a little more ownership because of the Eckler thing, but I'm not sold on that necessarily. Top owned RBs right now, or wide receivers, excuse me. We just saw RBs. Deontay Johnson, number 1 at 26%. Rashee Rice, number 2 at 24%. Nico, number 3 at 20% expected ownership. And then number 4, pretty big fall to Jamar Chase, Marvin Harrison, and Terry McLaurin at 12%. So, of course, love Harrison, love McLaurin. Chase, I think, has a logic to it with the upside. Probably the toughest click for me out of this group. Nico, I love. Rashee Rice, I don't love. Deontay, I think, makes a lot of sense at that price tag. And top tight ends, yeehaw. How much Dallas Goedert? So Dallas Goedert, really the only one who's super chalky. 18% Dallas Goedert projected. Looked great last week versus New Orleans, had the big upside. Still feels a little point chasey. I think there is, I'll say it one more time. Again, this is not a comfortable play, but if I were putting in 1 milli maker entry, which is probably what I'll be doing today, I'm going to strongly consider putting in John Dotson just because of the fact they're the same price point relatively. You go with a different tight end, try to get over the top on Goddard. Goddard's going to be very chalky because there's just no tight end plays that are good on the slate. So that's really where you are. Maybe he goes nuts again. Maybe puts up 30 points again, or maybe completely bombs and the entire field is there watching him put up 5 to 8 points. And with how bad tight end is, maybe that's enough for him to win a slate. But I think you're probably going to do better taking shots on other guys. And my brain goes immediately to trying to directly leverage against it. Direct leverage is probably Jahan Dotson. Elijah Higgins, 8%. George Kittle rounded up 8%. Gesicki at 7%. Gesicki a little trappy still with Eric All, taking a good amount of work away last week. Brock Bowers at 7% feels low, but I don't think the price tag is going to work. And Tucker Kraft has come down. Zach Ertz, Bretton Strange. One of those slates, again, at tight end. You can play whoever you want, but just be mindful. If you play Dallas Goedert, you're walking into a potential buzzsaw of ownership. Let's go to the solver next, guys. Shout out the chat. I know I'm a little bit slow. Good morning. Please, good morning to them. Please follow you, okay? Dotson do or die week. Don't go crazy on him, but I'd play a little bit. Morning, fellow humans. What about the non-humans? What about the animals watching? What about the dogs? I assume there's a lot of dogs watching me this week. All right, let's go. No variance here for our first little optimization. You can all see the ETR projections here on the screen as well. Their top projected guys, Kyler, Jaden Daniels, Breece Hall, CJ Stroud, do they have much higher than Stochastic, and Joe Burrow. They're also lower on Bijan Robinson than Stochastic is. Still give them a good amount of ownership, though. ETR's top 5 highest owned. Deontay, they're expected to be number 1. Najee, number 2 at a more reasonable 25%. If I had to guess, I think Najee, 25 to 33 would be the band. I think Stochastic's a little bit high in him because of the projection. Nico Collins at number 3, 23%. Number 4, Jordan Mason, a rounded up 23%. And number 5, Rashee Rice, also a rounded up 23%. And they have Dallas Goedert not too far behind. But let's just run 25 lineups. Again, let's take off our boosts and everything because we just want to see what the projection math is going to be. And this is definitely something that matters the most for showdowns, but it does matter for a main slate just to know that, let's say if somebody uses ETR projections, they're going to be forced a lot to certain players more often than not. That's what we're going to try to find out here. I don't have the answer to you for that. I'll be able to get you closer to it when we go through everything, but I can't give you that answer off the top of my head. So your optimal lineup right now, if you're playing a cash game at this moment in time, this is probably the one you should play. I play a head-to-head every week with two of my friends who were in the same fantasy league since high school. We still just play a cash game every week. This is the kind of one you'd play in a group like that. Jaden Daniels, Breece Hall, Chuba Hubbard, Nico Collins, Deontay Johnson, Trey Tucker, Dallas Goedert, Najee Harris, and Eagles D going against Tampa Bay. A little surprised to see them here, but that right now, top projected lineup, no sort of boosts on it, no variance or anything added onto it. That's how that looks right now. Oh my God. So God damn it. Jaden Daniels is in 100%, almost. So, okay. So you're 100% guys in these top 25 lineups we built here, just off the projections. We got Deontay Johnson, number 1. Najee Harris, number 2. Nico Collins, number 3. So you're getting 100% of these guys in every lineup. So right away, one move you could do on a slate. It's a little more simple for a showdown to say it this way. In some ways less simple because those guys could still be good plays. But for the main slate here, if you were to not play Deontay, not play Najee, not play Nico, let alone try to directly leverage against those plays, you're going to be getting away from a lot of the field because the field's going to be forced these guys more than they realize. Because when you have projections that push people, 2 players often in a 25 lineup build with no optimization on it, or no variance on it, no boost, nothing like that. Basically what that means is that the math is telling the optimizer that these guys are important plays no matter what else is going on in other positions. You want to get these guys in. As a result, that means the trickle-down effect becomes that everybody who's building lineups ends up getting more Deontay, ends up getting more Najee, ends up getting more Nico. So when you see this right away in the solver, 100%, 100%, 100%, it just means that that's a thought where if you play these guys, you better be playing something low owned with that. Play your fucking Jordan Love stacks. Play your Sam Darnold stacks. Play your AR stacks. Play your Justin Fields stacks. Whatever. You got to do something to get low owned here because if you play these 3 guys together, you're going to be just in a crush of people coming together. And that's like half your lineup. It's going to be due pretty exponentially. Jaden, not quite at 100%, but not too far off. So unfortunately, I think Jaden is also going to be one of the more popular chalk plays of the week. But let's run a sim with the solver and see what we can get with that. I'll put on high variance here. I will also put on my boosted settings so we get QBs with wide receivers a little more frequently. Let's see what we get. Love stack baby. Yes, indeed. Love stack baby. But really, though, I don't know about love stacks today. I do think that game was how Minnesota's been playing. Frankly, how Green Bay's been playing as well. I tend to think that game gets a little more sloggy, a little more classic NFC North, but that's my gut instinct. Doesn't have to be yours. So we're building on our lineups here. Getting a little more correlation on. Okay. We'll see what we get. Packers are threatening a Malik Willis package. I mean, honestly, he kind of deserves it. He doesn't not deserve it for sure. He played well. I mean, I know I'm never gonna be in the bag for Malik Willis. They certainly played to prevent him from killing themselves more than they did like him being great. But I think he deserves maybe some run play packages. I can see it works. Aaron Jones revenge TD prop, sure. Willis package would be huge. I don't know if it'd be huge based on what we've seen of him. I'd say mid-size at best. Lean to the plug. I once, fun fact, while this is loading here, we got to fill some time in between. I almost got hired by Adam22, the guy who is with Lean to the Plug and does the videos where they interview people on a podcast and bang them. No Jumper wanted to hire me when I first moved to LA because they wanted me to help them be more like Barstool. And that was one of the things where like I then saw that guy doing porn with his porn star wife and was like, it's weird to be interviewed by somebody and have a couple of meetings with them and like treat them like a normal professional person. And then you see them doing porn within the next 6 months span. Well, that's life for you. It's life in LA, especially, I suppose. Any thoughts that Roschon Johnson gets more run? I think it's possible, but I wouldn't play him. Swift is still the better play, I think, overall compared to everybody. We have our first female audience. What female audience? I missed that. We sometimes have women that come in. We have a few cherished regular women, I would say. All right, let's go here and see what the best tournament is. Usually for the solver sims, the slant is the best one to go to here. And that remains the case because they don't build a full Millie Maker build for some reason. I don't know why they don't, but they don't. Do I know Kent Murphy? He was at Barstool before I was there, but I did not know him personally. He was there and left. I didn't know he's still doing that shtick. He's been doing that shtick for fucking 10 years now then. Which, hey, more power to you. I guess if you got a shtick that works, drive it into the fucking ground. He's been doing that since like 2012, I think, because I was at Barcelona in 2014. All right, so top ROI lineups right now. He's not really. He's pivoting enough. Good for him. No one respects and loves women more than Spags and I trust. It's true. A lot of respect. I respect women too much, especially at this point in life. We got CJ Stroud in the top ROI lineup right now. Stroud, Breece Hall, Najee Harris, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Trey Tucker. So Trey Tucker getting into a lot of the optimal lineups and also in the sim ROI highest lineup right now, according to Solver. Eli Higgins. We should talk about Higgins real fast. So Higgins, the issue that I struggle with Higgins is that I think people are going to plug him in as a straight one-to-one replacement for Trey McBride. And if he does get Trey McBride's workload, he's a very strong play this week because he's going to get a lot of the lateral, horizontal cutting targets. Eli Higgins, the former receiver at Stanford. So he's a player, too, that Miami had previously wanted to try to capitalize on. He's a pretty good pass catcher, not a good blocker. The issue, though, is he can't block. So I'm not sure that he could be in for all the McBride snaps. But Higgins himself, good catcher, good yak guy. He's a strong player. I certainly have interest in him. I think he's a good play this week overall, but he's going to be chalky potentially. And I think there are some points that have concern for him that he's not stepping in probably to a McBride one-to-one role because I don't think he can block. But anyway, I just want to get the Higgins take out there because I think he's a perfectly viable play. I just worry he's a little bit too much like Eric Saubert a couple weeks ago, where I thought Eric Saubert looked good with the limited work he's gotten. Analytically, it looked good as well. Target per out run looked good for him. To me, it's a very similar situation where Saubert almost hit. He got 2 catches for 42 in that game, one of which I think he could have maybe housed if things had worked out a little bit better for him. A little more work would have been good as well if Juwan Jennings didn't fucking siphon everything away. But Higgins feels a lot like Saubert, so that's the most of a caveat, the most of a road cone I could put out for you guys to watch out for Higgins. But Connor, Panthers D, that's your team right now. So going to Panthers D, trying to get leverage on perhaps some Bengals chalk going on. Stroud is also the number 2 ROI lineup. Stroud, Breece Hall, Chuba, Darnell Mooney, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Dalton Schultz, and Trey Tucker with Chiefs D. So wow. So Trey Tucker is getting in here a lot. This one, you're going to a Dalton double. So a Dalton lineup, your number 3 ROI on the solver. Dalton, Breece Hall, Najee, Deontay, Mingo. So Mingo coming in here, not Leggett. I think Leggett and Mingo equally viable plays relative to just the hope that they can suck up the Adam Thielen production and be better with it. Marvin Harrison Jr. should benefit even more than Eli Higgins will. Higgins will get more snaps as a result, but Harrison is being the primary receiver out there. They should help him out the most against in a matchup too against Washington, where they're not going to be able to start Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison, if you throw him the ball, he's going to catch it in this matchup. So Harrison, to me, one of my favorite plays of the week, as I've mentioned. Dallas Goedert at tight end. So you're getting Goddard chalk here. You're not playing Higgins, so you're playing Harrison. And Jordan Mason, Cardinals D, trying to get leverage on the Commanders. I would warn you guys, I've said it before. I think similarly for the Jets, though not quite as strongly. People are going to try to play defenses against Jaden. I think you're going to walk into your own issues with that, where Jaden is just not a player that fucks up that much. Maybe he does today, but in college, one of the reasons I loved him so much, A, he runs a lot. He should be able to run a lot on the Cardinals, or a team that really is not defended QB rushes well at all. But number 2 would be that he just doesn't fuck up. He doesn't throw picks. He's a very accurate passer. These are the reasons I love the guy, but also to me why, if you play the Cardinals D and try to get cute, I just don't think it hits for you that often. Maybe a sack fumble kind of thing. That's it. Levitan touted Tucker, so it's popping and solver. I think he probably touted Tucker because he saw the data guys talking about Tucker. Usually, it would be usually the other way around. They're not giving you Tucker because the solver, that's not. It's usually the data first for most of these guys. Dalton, other lineup here. Dalton with Tommy Tremble, so you're getting Dalton doubles up top here. Josh Jacobs, Romeo Dobbs, Aaron Jones, Deontay, Rashee Rice, Tremble, Jordan Mason, Niners. It's not big on Rashee Rice. I think if you're going to play a receiver in that game with, this is going to sound like a real hot take, but I did land at it earnestly on Friday's premium video we did. Of course, I went game by game. I think Ladd McConkey in that Chargers-Chiefs game is my favorite receiver. Kelsey, my favorite tight end / probably favorite player in that game, because I think with Kelsey, you're getting direct leverage on Rashee Rice. But I just don't think it's a spot where Rashee Rice gets targeted over and over again, because they shouldn't have to do a lot to win that game. Whereas the Chargers coming out more aggressively, coming out trying to make things work. Not a Ladd McConkey guy, but I do think if you're going to get a guy, Ladd is this is a week where Ladd can work. We're just check down, over the middle. He's getting 30% target per out run. In this kind of game, that's where you can see that kind of accumulate the most. Kyler Murray build here from ETR. We'll go, of course, Stochastic, go QB by QB on there. We got Kyler, Bijan, Josh Jacobs, Nico, Deontay, Greg Dortch, Higgins, Brian Robinson Jr., and Eagles. So interesting version of the Kyler stack. I kind of feel like the Michael Wilson one would appeal to me a little bit more. But I get it. Higgins and Dortch, that can certainly hit. I think in this build, you're almost expecting Kyler to run in some TDs, and these guys just have like 15-point-ish games that are enough. Hopefully everybody else around here goes off. Don't love that build, though, but I get the logic why it would be here. Here's a Purdy one. Purdy with Bijan, Jordan Mason, Debo, Ayuk, Elijah Higgins, Trey Tucker, Garrett Wilson sneaks in here, and Rams D. So Garrett Wilson, direct leverage against Breece Hall, but he's going to be decently owned, so he's not really good leverage necessarily. That's that. Caleb Stack's appealing, I think, on every format. Battle Royales, DFS this week. Caleb single stack, though, I would say a little bit less appealing to me. But you get Caleb, Najee, Kyron, Deontay, DJ Moore, Debo, Tremble, Jordan Mason, Cardinals D. And just for fun, what are the lowest ROI ones? AR stacked with Akers, Najee, Chase, Kirk, Ayuk, Freiermuth, Connor, Rams. Cousins stack. Single with Dalton. I agree a single with Dalton is not going to be clever enough for DFS today. Probably have to add on the lesser-owned Mingo, the lesser-owned Leggett, the lesser-owned Tommy Tremble. Mahomes stack with Rashee Rice. Mahomes single, really low-rated here. A lot of it's Cam Akers, I think, is killing the ROI the most. But again, you're kind of getting a read here for the QBs that are a little bit less appealing according to the stack builds. I got it. It's a Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert here. So anything that's too obvious, single stack with a chalk play, seems like that's not the move to try to play that. Anyone else look up Tyler Beatty's stats? People liked him a lot at the Senior Bowl. I remember it because we had Football Outsiders guys there, and our guy Mike Tanier at that time, he was such a fucking asshole, by the way. So fuck that guy in hindsight. But anyway, he loved Tyler Beatty. A lot of the reporters there love Tyler Beatty. He's not sneaking up anywhere. He's also a guy that's like, they're playing because the game got out of hand and the RBs weren't doing well. So I would not try to chase Tyler Beatty. He's not a DFS play. He's maybe a 16 team league kind of play, I guess. But even that, probably not. He's fine, but he's got no draft capital. He's been on the team for 3 years. So that usually doesn't mean a player is going to break out. No. Are you still learning or is he still learning? If you're still learning, the main thing to look at here, we always talk about it for best ball. Draft capital matters. Guys' usages in the preseason, who's running ahead of other guys, that stuff matters. But for Tyler Beatty, like he's been in the league 3 years. He's just a journeyman guy. Sometimes you'll have good production late in a game too, where the game is out of hand. I don't think Beatty's a bad player, but like you only have a limited window of time for most teams usually to kind of rise up the depth chart, get real work. He didn't do that. And then they brought McLaughlin in. They brought Blake Watson in. They obviously brought Esteban, who's an entirely different back. So it's like there's no good signal for Beatty besides him having okay counting stats 1 week, which is not usually the reason to play a guy, is what I would say. Quick plugs. Again, Stochastic, 15% off with the promo code SPLASH. Link in the description for that. The Solver, which you just saw on stream. Again, a great tool if you want to hand build, optimize some stuff, have more control, and then sim stuff out off of that. That's what I like the Solver for. I'm trying to figure out a way to combine both products in my process, but I'm not sure I'll be able to figure that out today. My thought, and somebody out there maybe already is doing this. I'm sure somebody out there is, if not one of you guys. Trying to take your top ROI lineups from the Solver and then see if they match up with top ROI lineups from Stochastic. If you wanted to pay for both products, I think that's an interesting way to do that. Something that I'm sure somebody out there is doing, and I would guess maybe having success with it. But basically, you kind of, like there are some players out there who are very good DFS players who average out projections from a bunch of sites because an average of a bunch of projections will theoretically give you the most median outcome to work off of. I think it's the same thing for top ROI lineups, where if you just went through and were like, oh, this one's got a 300% ROI on ETR. This one has a 500% lineup ROI on Stochastic. You then just combine those together. I think it's a pretty powerful thing that people probably aren't doing enough. But, you know, it's all the balance too, because that's still, you're just force feeding yourself sim lineups without thinking about it. But it's a thought. I'm happy to help, Hoosier Diva. I appreciate it. I'm not trying to be dismissive to you, especially for members here, but I wasn't sure if you were like busting, if you're joking around here. You never know with people. But yeah, guys usually don't break out for a couple years. It can happen, but like you need the sun, the moon, and the stars to align perfectly for him in a way it's not likely to happen. It's like a solar eclipse when a guy who didn't break out his first couple years suddenly starts hitting and like is viable and you can rely on him week after week. Sucks, because I don't think that's how that should work, but it is how it works usually. Let's see what the sim gives us here. Of course, Stochastic sim, 10,000 lineups competing 10,000 times is what it does. And again, a great tool as well, where I think if you want control, the Solver does that a little bit more for you. You just want to be fed lineups and know that they have good data behind it, good process behind it. Stochastic does it well for you. And people have been winning with Stochastic a lot lately in pretty much every format. So I have to give them their flowers for that as well. Let's make this bigger so you can see it. Of course, we will go QB by QB as well, but to start it off, top ROI lineups, Justin Fields, Kyron Williams, Chuba Hubbard, Rashee Rice, Drake London, George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, Najee Harris, and Rams. So what do we talk about a lot on here? When Sims are struggling for a reason to get or a way to get unique, what it'll often do is over-correlate. Do you really want to triple with Pittsburgh? I would say not, but that's the Sim logic here. So they're taking Najee chalk, adding on Pickens, adding on Freiermuth. It seems like the Stochastic Sims are really going to love Najee, so let's keep that in mind. Number 2 ROI lineup is a Mahomes one. Mahomes with Bijan, Chuba Hubbard, Rashee Rice, Deontay, Paris Campbell, Kelsey, Najee Harris, and Patriots. So again, adding more correlation here to try to get unique. So they're adding on, taking Rashee Rice, adding on Travis Kelsey. We're also getting a little bit lower owned with Paris Campbell, theoretically trying to get some leverage against Dallas Goedert would be my guess. Is what the Sim's trying to do with that. I'm still getting Bijan Robinson as a median outcome kind of guy who's going to be fine probably. Maybe one of the biggest ceiling in the world. Probably isn't the thing that kills your lineup. Same thing for Chuba Hubbard, I think is the assumption here. But top 3 ROI lineups have Bijan, Chuba. I guess they all have Chuba, and 2 out of 3 have Bijan. So interesting to see. Another Fields one at number 3. Fields, Bijan, Chuba, Drake London, George Pickens, Deontay, George Kittle, Najee Harris, and Rams D. Number 4 right now, top ROI lineup, Jordan Love, Bijan Robinson, Kyron, Rashee Rice, Dobbs, Paris Campbell, Goddard, Najee, and Rams. So a single with Love? I guess maybe that's enough to get it low owned enough with the chalk around it. There you go. And then number 5, another Jordan Love. Jordan Love with Bijan, Najee, Chris Godwin, Jaden Reed, Deontay, Tucker Kraft, Jordan Mason, and Rams D. All right, not exactly what I expect to see up top, but a lot of Najee, a lot of Bijan. I'm not that big on Bijan. I know I'm going to get fed him when I build lineups, but I just don't think Bijan's like a smash play or anything. I think New Orleans side is more appealing to me, to be honest. Top ROI players according to Stochastic right now. So Paris Campbell across 150 of the top ROI lineups, a 35% sim ROI. So they love Paris Campbell. Again, the concept to me of getting leverage on Dallas Goedert makes sense. Still think because of the projections, Paris Campbell gets into a few too many lineups. Stochastic has Paris Campbell right now. Just filter this down in a different tab. All right. So they've got Paris Campbell as the top wide receiver value on the slate. So 3K min salary, just shy of a 9-point projection here. The only other value of note amidst the top guys is Najee Harris. So that's why you're getting so much Paris Campbell. I think Paris Campbell's fine. Paris Campbell looked okay in training camp and all that. But they did trade for Jahan Dotson for a reason. So I still think Dotson, awkward price point. I get just not playing him, but I think that's like the most live pivot that nobody's going to play, whereas people will get to Campbell just because the projection is going to put you there enough. Rams D is coming up a lot. Again, I don't agree with that. Rams D does suck. Caleb could certainly make mistakes, but I think it's more likely the Bears stack goes off than is the Rams really get a ton of production going against them. 9% ROI for Tommy Tremble, 8% for Najee Harris, despite him being chalk. So Sims love Najee. Michael Wilson, positive ROI. Mingo, positive ROI. Deontay, positive. Chuba, positive. Kyron, positive. And from there, we're getting to basically 0 after that. Trey Tucker, basically a flat 0. Favorites here. Actually, no, that's right, because I can't see exposure when I zoom in too much. Exposure, this is what we want to look at. Top exposed players in the top 150 ROI lineups from Stochastic. 61% Najee Harris, 57% Paris Campbell, 49% Bijan, 47% Deontay, 44% Kyron, and 41% Chuba. So you're kind of getting a read here for what the core is according to Stochastic. Mostly these guys. Add on your Rashee Rice, your Nico. That's basically it. Garrett Wilson might get wrapped up in Surtain. Maybe. I mean, honestly, that's one of those matchups I tend to not worry about. Clearly, it did impact Mike Evans last week. The Evans was also a little bit banged up, supposedly. I'm not a big believer in one-on-one cornerback matchups, but Wilson, to me, is like not a player that is so great that he would beat it. But again, the push-pull of it is like last year, Devontae Adams absolutely obliterated Denver in a game. People were worried about Surtain. Nobody played him, and he went off. This week, I don't think Garrett Wilson's that guy, but like the game theory of playing Garrett Wilson because you're not playing Breece Hall, I wouldn't worry about Surtain if you're trying to get like game theory should always supersede football take stuff, like fundamentally. Like that's sort of what DFS should be for you out there. But you know, Garrett Wilson's being played enough, so I get it. All right, let's go. Let's real fast at the stack ROI for all these guys. So top QB +1, Really, nobody's a positive ROI in QB +1, but Jaden Daniels is as close as it gets. Obviously, assumption would be in a QB +1 that he ends up running a little bit more. Top ROI QB +2 is Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts, Gardner Minshew at number 3. So probably Trey Tucker and Brock Bowers, I would guess. Maybe some Jacoby Myers. That's fine. Kyler, Andy Dalton, these guys are all positive ROIs in QB +2 stacks. And the QBs +3, Andy Dalton is the highest ROI by a decent margin. Fields number 2, really hard to see him hitting. I think a QB +2 with Fields is probably enough to get you there. But the Sims like QB +3. Deshaun, 19% ROI on his QBs +3. Kyler, 16%. Minshew, 13%. QB +3, though, I feel like is one of those sim traps that you just kind of learn to look away from a little bit more. So that's basically that. All right, let's go QB by QB here. We'll go through all the lineups. Guys, if you appreciate content like this one, please do hit that like button. Please subscribe. Again, I do the work here pretty much every day at 11 a.m. besides Wednesdays where I take a day to kind of look at the data, look at film, take myself back in the process. It's really helpful for me. But besides that, Mondays I'm doing showdowns. Tuesdays I'm doing a best ball / fantasy review show. Talk about the guys that I think are doing well right now. Guys will do better. Thursdays, another showdown video. Fridays, a full slate preview. And of course, what you're seeing right now, Sunday at 9 a.m. is my final takes video where I go one by one, talk about everything that's important, build some lineups here. And we're going to go QB by QB here. So show some love, hit the like button, subscribe, and join for $4.99 down below if you can. All right. QB contains, we're going to go in order of the slate based on me updating my data and pulling in all the teams. So we're going to go Rams first. So if you want to see a player, you'll see him in order. Stafford, come on down. Top ROI Stafford lineups. There are not a lot of them. Stafford with Bijan, Najee, Tutu, Nico, Deontay Johnson, Colby Parkinson, Rashee Rice, Bucks. So a QB +2 with Tutu and Colby Parkinson is the top ROI lineup here. That does not look pretty. Stafford with Bijan, Kyron, Drake London, Pickens, DeMarcus Robinson, Parkinson. That makes more sense to me. Rashad White. I would not play Rashad White in any format right now. Packers D. All right. Stafford, Kyron, Mason, Jamar Chase, Jaden Reed, Tutu, Tommy Tremble, Brian Robinson Jr., and Rams. So you're not really getting any bringbacks here. You're getting a decent mix of players, but a Stafford stack, look, not going to be a priority today, but we're going in order, so we had to look at it. Caleb stacks I would feel better about conceptually going against a Rams team that on the year, 0.29 EPA per drop back, one of the worst marks in the league, 0.35 EPA per pass allowed, one of the worst marks in the league, 0.13 EPA per rush, also one of the worst marks in the league. So the Rams D right now, to me, one of the teams we should be targeting every week. But a Caleb stack with Bijan, Najee Harris, DJ Moore, Stephon Diggs, Jonathan Mingo, Dallas Goedert, Jordan Mason, and Texans D. QB +1. Yeah, Ben had asked about Keenan Allen stacks above here. Not seeing Keenan coming up too much up top here. DJ Moore again. DJ Moore again. DJ Moore again. If you play an Allen Odunze stack, that's not going to be as well projected, but it's going to be way less owned. These are all Caleb with DJ Moore. So right away, I think you can go with a different Chicago stack if you feel okay about it. Do we got a single one with Keenan? We got another filter here. And lineup contains Keenan. So you get a couple of positive ROI lineups here with Keenan and this one. Caleb, Bijan, Chuba, Rashee Rice, Nico, Keenan Allen, Tommy Tremble, Najee Harris, and Panthers. Here's a double with Caleb, Bijan, Najee Harris, Drake London, Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson, Cole Kmet, Brian Robinson, Commanders. Man, you don't get Keenan and Odunze together. I get they're at weird price points, and there'd be a theoretical push-pull between Keenan and Odunze. But like this, like a double can hit today, and it's just not coming up. These are negative ROI by a little bit. I don't know. I like the Keenan combo a little bit more than the Sims do, to be honest. Let's keep going, though. Let me take these guys out. All right, next QB up. Justin Fields, we saw a good amount of these. We got Fields, Kyron, Chuba, Rashee Rice, Drake London, Pick. We saw this one already. Fields, Bijan, Chuba, Drake London, Pickens, Deontay, Kittle, Najee, Rams. So Pittsburgh QB +3, Pittsburgh QB +2, Pittsburgh QB +3, QB +3, QB +2. So overstacking Justin Fields and Still keeping Najee Harris is what the Sims want you to do. I think if Fields hits, I don't think Najee hits as often. So I don't know that I agree with that. Because if Fields is hitting, he's probably running a little bit more. I mean, they can both hit, but it feels unlikely. And the Sim is treating it like, oh, these guys hit, they're going to go together. And I don't think that's the case. But this one without Najee. So Fields with Bijan, Kyron Williams, Chris Godwin, Pickens, Paris Campbell, Freiermuth, Jordan Mason, and Jets. Could live with that. The stochastic sims are going to give you a lot more Paris Campbell than you want, though. I'll say that right away. Who was it last week? There was somebody who pointed out where I was like, these sims are giving you too much. This guy, don't play this guy, and ended up being completely correct. I can't remember who it was last week, but I think this happens a lot with stochastic, where they just give you a cheap guy. The sim thinks that makes the entire lineup work, and in reality, that's like the first layer of the sim that you should peel away right away is like, don't play as much Paris Campbell as somebody else. AR, Kamara, Bijan, Michael Pittman. If I had to guess, not very much, but I'm not going to show you it specifically. If you want to see it for yourself, link in the description. If you're a paying member, I'd give it to you. We're doing the QB thing here. AR, Kamara, Bijan Robinson, Pittman, Downs, Trey Tucker, Kelsey, Brian Robinson Jr., and Rams D is your number one ROI lineup for AR. If you were to play AR any week, this is a week where nobody's going to be on AR at all. Granted, it makes a lot of sense against Pittsburgh, a low total as well for Indianapolis. But if you were to somehow be competitive, number one, you get direct leverage against Pittsburgh. Number two, we know he has slate breaking upside in terms of the rushing, the downfield passing. I don't want to like cape for AR, but I think there are some decent projections out there. I know Fantasy Points had an okay passing projection on him. For AR here, I think that not a sexy play, but if you're doing 150, I think trying to get some AR makes sense. Hey, Christopher, welcome back, Christopher. Appreciate him being a member. I'll give you the welcome, family. Welcome to the family, Christopher. Of course, join the VIP Discord, etc. We'll make it faster because we're in the home stretch. But appreciate Christopher being here. You want to know about Kelsey? I've talked about Kelsey enough here. He's good leverage against Rashee Rice, but besides that, who knows? Next game up, Trevor Lawrence. Yikes! You want to stack up Trevor Lawrence? Bile, there's blood in the streets. Good ROIs in Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence with Bijan Robinson, excuse me. Najee Harris, George Pickens, Deontay, Brian Thomas Jr., Kittle, Kirk, Jets. So a QB +2. I do think the kind of play you make in a week like this, or if you're going to play a lot of the chalk, Bijan Robinson, they expect to be chalk. Najee expect to be chalk. Deontay definitely going to be chalk. Jets D, a little bit chalky. Kittle, chalk adjacent, not fully chalky. You got to play it with something like a Trevor Lawrence stack. So just playing the double here makes a lot of sense, even though it's not my most favorite in the world. Number two, Trevor Lawrence, Kyron, James Conner, Rashee Rice, Jaden Reed, Brian Thomas Jr., Brenton Strange, Brian Robinson Jr., and the Falcons D. Look, Trevor Lawrence stacks coming up well here. I would tend to buy in more on the Houston side of the equation. Let's say that game does shoot out. You can get Nico Collins in the lineup. You can do some stuff. I get the logic for Trevor Lawrence builds, even though they're not my fave. CJ Stroud up next. We got Stroud with Bijan, Chuba, Nico, Drake London, Michael Wilson, Dalton Schultz, Najee Harris, and Falcons D. So Stroud, you're getting all QBs +2, which I think you have to have for Stroud, most likely, because basically he's not going to run enough to be able to make it in a QB +1. Could be a total Trevor Lawrence pumpkin spot. I agree, but that said, there's nobody who's going to play him this week for the most part. So the main point of Trevor Lawrence is like, you got to remember, it's the exact opposite of Jay Daniels. Jay Daniels went nuts on Monday Night Football. Everybody saw it. They're going to play him a shitload as a result. Trevor Lawrence is the exact opposite, where he completely shit the bed on Monday Night Football. So your time to play him, like if you're ever going to play Trevor Lawrence, is this week. So yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence is not good. I think Jacksonville is trending towards a team that like fires everybody this year, which I thought would be the case back in the spring, as you guys have heard me say enough times. But for DFS, the game theory, again, supersedes the stats. Game theory is you play Trevor Lawrence doubles here because nobody wants to go there. They just got embarrassed on big TV. Stroud, Bijan Robinson, Kyron, Nico, Diggs, Paris Campbell, Tommy Tremble, Najee Harris, Raiders D. It's a unique one. But you're getting a Nico double here with Stephon Diggs. So basically you're getting Nico with somebody, it looks like, for all of these. Yeah, these are all Nico lineups up top. If you were to play Diggs with Schultz, you would be getting low owned in a Stroud stack. I don't know. It's the move because Nico's going to smash Mandy. But if you want to get in the game theory of it, would be you play some other Texans receivers if you're going to play a Stroud stack, I think. Burrow up next. Top Burrow lineups. That's not going to happen. No, it's Paris Campbell the Sims want. There's only going to be one value that pops up for a team. Paris Campbell is the one. And John Ross is like a really thin play. Maybe he hits, but he's like a really thin play. Based on what we know of him, he wasn't on the team. He was just practice squad. Joe Burrow, Breece Hall, Kyron, Jamar Chase, Drake London, Paris Campbell, Tucker Kraft, Najee Harris, and Rams. I know Tucker Kraft sneaks in here, but that's okay, I guess. Really not though. As I mentioned earlier on Friday, Tucker Kraft snaps going down, Luke Musgrave snaps going up. So it seems like they're overcorrecting from playing too much Tucker Kraft early on. Or maybe Musgrave was banged up to start the year. I'm not really sure, but snaps going the wrong way for Tucker Kraft. I think he's very much a trap play on the slate. Joe Burrow, Kyron Williams, Najee Harris, Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, Paris Campbell, Gesicki, Connor, Broncos. Fucking Paris Campbell coming along to the party in all these lineups, and I don't know why. Yeah, fucking Paris Campbell's in all these top Burrow lineups. I guess because he makes something work here. He's in all these fucking lineups. Like, what? Stochastic loves Paris Campbell, man. Maybe he hits today. Maybe he's such a good play that I'm ignoring. But I don't agree. I don't know. Whatever. Get some fucking Dotson, really. Just play a little bit of Dotson. Even if he doesn't hit, I think the logic still really supports. The fact that everybody's going to play Goddard, the fact that Stochastic Sims are just like, play Paris Campbell. He's a great play. That's exactly the fucking spot where Dotson goes for 20 and nobody's playing him. But we'll see. Andy Dalton, Kyron Williams, Jordan Mason, Rashee Rice, Drake London, Deontay Johnson. Yes, there's a lot less Paris Campbell on ETR. Stochastic is over-projecting him. ETR maybe under-projecting him. No, Aeneas Smith wouldn't be the play. Hoosier, we gotta go back to like square one for you, dude. Players who play well get playing time. Players who play efficiently get playing time. Players who are getting playing time get playing time. Aeneas Smith wouldn't have made it. They were almost going to cut him in the summer. If he didn't get hurt, I think they were going to cut him. So like you gotta calibrate better to players that are doing stuff. Like Johnny Wilson, take a flyer on over conceptual Aeneas Smith, conceptual John Ross. It's a way you should try to do that more so. Players who've shown something and theoretically earn more. Biggest thing you do for yourself. I don't know that he's a better wide receiver than Paris, but he was a first-round pick who showed fantasy upside recently. And, Paris Campbell showed fantasy upside in the past too. But look, if Dotson's ever going to fucking hit, it's this week. This is the one thing I will say, where you have all the chalk congregating. You have a sim saying, oh, this other guy looks pretty good. You have a certain amount of people that want to just jam in Saquon no matter what. Nobody wants to play Dotson. He's at a weird price point. I think that's the time you do it. Dalton stacks. Let's get into this. So Dalton doubles. So Dalton double, Dalton double, Dalton double, Dalton triple here. You're getting a lot of Tremble. Seems like you're getting less Chuba and Dalton stacks up top in the top ROI ones. This one, I assume we got Chuba. Yeah, here's one with Chuba. Dalton, Bijan, Chuba, Rashee Rice, Nico, Deontay, Tommy Tremble, Najee Harris, Cardinals. You're not getting any bringbacks at all on most of these. Here's one where you get Dalton, Breece, Kyron, Rashee Rice, Deontay, Leggett, Gesicki's your bringback with Chuba and Falcons. Like you're going to get the bring back, get Jamar Chase. Here we go. QB +3 with Jamar Chase coming back. This is kind of fun. Dalton, Bijan, Chuba, Jamar Chase, Deontay, Mingo, Bowers, Mason, Bucks, D. So you're getting leverage against Philly. So that's actually a very creative way. Try to get leverage on the Philly chalk. So my brain, again, I'm saying like, hey, I see ownership for Goddard. I know people want to jam in Saquon. Paris Campbell's getting fed. My brain goes to Dotson. Another way to get leverage would be to say the Philadelphia offense just stalls entirely because they have nobody to throw the ball to they trust. Bucks D makes a lineup here. You also get Brock Bowers, who I think is a top tight end play on the slate. You're not getting Paris Campbell. You're getting Mingo instead. Now that Mingo's a good play, but if you're going to play him, you're playing in a build where Jamar Chase goes nuts and Andy Dalton's theoretically throwing a shitload of touchdowns. It's all these guys. So that's fun. I don't know if that's a lineup I would play or I'm going to go out of my way to play, but it is fun. All right, Bo Nix, let me speed up here because I do want to try to get out at 10 a.m. so you guys can go watch all the other content that goes off at 10 a.m. Bo Nix with Bijan, Najee, fucking Bijan in every lineup. Bijan, Najee, Rashee Rice, Nico, Brian Thomas Jr., Dulcich, James Conner, Pats. It feels like that's just a lineup of shit that doesn't make sense. No, don't. I can't be more clear. Please stop worrying about one cornerback on defenses. Like it really just takes you off good plays. And this happens every fucking week. People are too worried about one matchup. It's like, it just doesn't matter. What matters is that Carolina's defense sucks against everything. I'll read the numbers real fast because like, gotta start grasping this. If you're going to watch these shows, for the love of God, Please grasp the idea that defenses as an overall unit matter a lot more than individual players. 0.07 EPA per dropback allowed is what Carolina's defense is giving up. 0.08 EPA per pass, 0.05 EPA per rush. In the red zone, they can't stop shit. 0.93 EPA per red zone pass. That's probably where JC Horn would theoretically be helping the most, is shutting people down in that closed space. So it just doesn't fucking matter. They're giving up positive EPAs everywhere. It's please don't worry about cornerback matchups as much. Team scheme, sure. Worry about two high safeties. Worry about how much you're playing cover 3 and a guy who sucks against cover 3. Don't worry about one cornerback. Please. I'll beg you guys. Anyway, Bo Nix, nobody wants to play it, but these are his lineups. Aaron Rodgers, another one people probably don't want to play. He looked okay last week. JC Horn has to be good. I mean, nobody's good on that team. That's the point. One player is not going to solve most things. At this point, honestly, there are no cornerbacks in the league I would actively fear. Like Sauce, you could fear a little bit, but he still gets beat deep sometimes. Like, everybody gets beat deep sometimes. Good players get results no matter what. If they get volume, it's just, and then it's like all cornerback matchup stuff is so like reverse based, so results based. It's just one of the worst things to do. But anyway, neither here nor there. Top Aaron Rodgers lineups, old AR. Aaron Rodgers with Kyren, Najee, Garrett Wilson, Godwin, Campbell, Brock Bowers, Jerome Ford, and Rams D. Aaron Rodgers with Brees, Bijan, Garrett Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, Mingo, Conklin, Connor, Bears D. This is the exact same time I've been doing Sundays for the last month. These are your Aaron Rodgers lineups. I don't really want to play it, but I do think with how much people are going to play Brees and still 7% ownership projected for Garrett Wilson, I think an Aaron Rodgers lineup isn't completely stupid. I'll say that. Why does it do this, man? Let me fucking click filters. Like, Jesus Christ. So Stochastic's tool was not built by like great UX people, is what I will say. My one little bit of shade here. Derek Carr, going back to him this week after busting last week, I think is not a crazy thing to do at all. Derek Carr, Brees Hall, Chuba Hubbard. Let me make this bigger. Maybe if I make it bigger, it'll work the same. Carr, Brees, Chuba, Olave, Ayuk, Shaheed, Brenton Strange, Najee Harris, Steelers D. Matchups are already in projections, to your point. That's also true. I mean, it comes down from the Vegas total primarily, but I agree that it's double and triple counting stuff. That's fair. Same thing with weather, but neither here nor there. Carr lineups, though, not projecting too well. Obviously, Olave being banged up drives down his ownership. I'll tell you what, guys. I think, much like we talked about with Trevor Lawrence, once Derek Carr busts as a stack last week, and again, they still put up a lot of yards in that game against Philadelphia. I think going back to Carr this week is not a crazy thing to do, especially because the game time decision thing for Olave is going to drive down that ownership a lot. You're just getting a kind of classic double here with QB +2 with Olave and Shaheed. I don't like Ayuk, Strange, whatever. I like the players around him, but I think that's it. Only morning show worth watching. Good stuff. Thank you, Christopher. I appreciate it. Christopher's been tough on me in the past. So nice. It's nice to hear that. I appreciate you saying that, Christopher, for real. Negative ROI lineups here with Carr, Bijan, Kyren, Nico, Olave, Deontay, Gesicki, Paris Campbell, and Chiefs. I fucking like this Saints double. I think going to it this week makes a lot of sense. Atlanta's not very good defensively. 0.06 or 0.08 EPA per dropback, 0.09 EPA per pass, 0.06 EPA per rush. They can have like a bounce back smash spot here. The total doesn't support it. 19.3 implied points, but I'm Team Carr. I think anytime you buy where there's blood in the streets in DFS, I think you're going to do better than not. Cousins, let me make up some time here and go faster. Cousins with Bijan, Kyren, Drake London, Pickens, Darnell Mooney, Goddard, Najee, Commanders. So a QB +3 is basically your way that Kirk Cousins makes a lineup. Any bringbacks target? I feel like, honestly, the Sims so far this year not really pushing bringbacks on anything. If I were going to target one, Mooney at the price tag, I think. I don't mind Ray either, to be honest. Ray's snap count has not been that bad. But like your most logical one is Drake London. So the thing usually is that like if a stack and a bring back does not get played a lot, you can usually play the most like expected outcome. So in this case, the most expected outcome would be, Saints with Olave, Shaheed, and either a Bijan or a Drake London bring back. And you'd probably be fine because people are going to play the Saints side enough. Like when you have to worry about bring backs and getting unique with it would be like if people are going to, be playing something a little bit more, and then you have to get like creative about it. But nobody's going to play the Saints side of the equation. So I don't know. You probably don't need to force a bring back, but if you were going to put one, it could just be Bijan, I think would be it. Just based on the projections, Bijan would be the optimal. I'd prefer Drake. Okay. Going in order here, guys. So people asked about Minshew. We're going to get to in a minute. Darnold, again, I don't love Minnesota Green Bay. I just think it's a matchup that's going to be a little more defensively skewed. Total supports it. EPA metrics support it. If it shoots out, I guess nobody's going to be there. So for you guys out there that are going to play Green Bay stacks, I get the logic. I don't like what Minnesota's doing defensively. I think they're uglying every game up a little bit more now on that side of the ball. Darnold, Kamara, Chuba Hubbard, Jesus Christ. I feel like that's one of those things that happens to guys when they get old, start saying everything with an A as like an ER sound. Chuba Herbert, Justin Jefferson, Paris Campbell, Drake London, Tucker Kraft, Rashee Rice, Cardinals D. Tell you what, people won't play Darnold stacks this week, but having Justin Jefferson, these builds seem kind of fun, especially if you want to play fucking dog shit Paris Campbell everywhere. Paris Campbell in all of these, though. All these fucking lineups. Here's one without Paris Campbell. 2 tight ends with Darnold, Kyron, Aaron Jones, Jefferson, Godwin, Addison, Schultz, Kraft, Rams. I don't see it. Darnold, I think, is fun for the concept of just getting Jefferson. This game could hit, but man. Jordan Love, Bijan, Kyron. Fucking, I swear, like these, when you read these teams out over and over again, I hope this adds value for you guys. You really start to see the commonalities over and over again. These sims are nuts over Bijan. Like I've said, like take Paris Campbell out of lineups, but really you take Bijan out of lineups, and I get it. He's a good projected play, but he doesn't have like a dominant red zone share like a lot of top RBs usually do. He has okay usage, but he's not like fed the ball so much that it's like an impossibility that he's going to, like, oh, I can't imagine Bijan not being in the winning lineup, but he's in all of these lineups, like all of them. And I don't know. I don't think taking him out would be crazy. Anyway, Jordan Love with Bijan, Kyron, Rashee Rice, Dobbs, Campbell, Goddard, Najee, Rams. We saw that one before, I think. Here's a double with Love, Bijan, Najee, Godwin, Jaden Reed, Deontay, Kraft, Mason, and Rams. Just don't like Kraft. Whenever you see the snaps going the wrong way, that gives me the ick. Here's one. So Love, Kyron, Hubbard, Nico, Olave, Jaden Reed, Bretton Strange, Najee, and Panthers. Panthers D doesn't do it for me for the reasons we talked about. None of these lineups up top are like setting my world on fire, but they're okay. Hurts. I'm going too slow, guys. I apologize. Hurts, Kyron, Chuba, Rashee Rice, London, Paris Campbell. All right, here's the more fun game. How low do we have to go to get a Dotson lineup? And lineup contains Dotson. They're going to have a dog shit projection on him. 52% ROI on Jalen, Mason, Aaron Jones, Jamar Chase, Jahan Dotson, Paris Campbell, Dallas Goedert, Brian Robinson Jr., and Rams. This is the part that I hate sometimes about the Sims, where it's like, it's giving me so much unique shit when really the only unique thing we need is the Hurts Dotson component of this, and everything else is fine enough around it. It's all triples. It's all triples with Dotson. How about him consolidating production? There's not a single QB plus one with Dotson. Here's one with a negative 46% ROI. Hurts with Kyron, Rashad White, Nico, Deontay, Dotson, Tucker Kraft, Chuba, Rams. Man, these lineups all suck with Dotson. I'll tell you what, I'm going to force the solver to give me some fucking Dotson today, and I'm probably going to play it in the Millie Maker. It's all I can tell you guys. The other guy, Robert Griffith III, had asked earlier about Baker. Getting him now. Baker with Bijan, Chuba, Mike Evans, Godwin, Mingo, Schultz, James Conner, and Rams. So you're getting the double. That's kind of fun. Like a double of the bring back would look better, which is what this one is. Baker with Brees, Chuba, Evans, Godwin, Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell is the bring back. Higgins, still a good tight end play. He's not coming up as much as I would have thought. Jordan Mason and Steelers. So one difference between ETR and Stochastic. Stochastic not going to give you as much Elijah Higgins. ETR going to give you a lot of Elijah Higgins, I think. It's one difference to note. New England up next. Make it through this one fast, hopefully. Brissett, Kyron, James Conner, Rashee Rice, Nico, Drake London, Hunter Henry, Trey Tucker, and Panthers. This is kind of fun. I don't think Jacoby Brissett can make a Millie Maker winning lineup in general, but you're getting like a lot of chalk here. I guess Drake London less so. A lot of good game environments, and it's just the Brissett with Hunter Henry, and that's it. Granted, you're not playing Bijan here, but this ownership product is probably nicely low. Like, these are the kind of builds that, unfortunately, you try to galaxy brain shit, you try to get really creative, and then that's what wins it. So, Purdy single, like not the play I'm going to die on the hill of, but I get like the Brissett single being a thing that works. Purdy stacks looking pretty good. Purdy with Najee, Connor, Rashee Rice, Godwin, Campbell, Kittle, Jordan Mason, and Broncos. Purdy with Kyron, Chuba, Nico, Paris Campbell, Deontay, Kittle. Are we getting all right? That one's got Ayuk. Any Debo? Seems like you're not getting Debo up top, but Debo is a tournament play. Coming off the injury, nobody's going to play him. I think it's okay. Jaden stacks. And sorry, guys, for going over 10. I got to get better at making sure that we hit the 10 o'clock mark every week. Jaden, Bijan, Chuba, Chris Godwin, Terry McLaurin, Paris Campbell, fucker, Brock Bowers, Jordan Mason, Broncos. If Paris Campbell hits this week, I'm going to be so mad. Because it's going to be a stochastic person that wins everything, I think. Potential. I don't think it's skeleton key. I think he's like more of he's under 10% owned. You play him a little bit, but sure. Too scared to play Barkley, Goddard, Campbell. Probably too many Eagles though. I don't think you should be scared to play him. I think Barkley's ownership is going to be higher than the ownership has him at, and he's not coming up sim-wise, but there's a logic for playing Barkley, I think. Goddard is just pure chalk. Paris Campbell, less chalk, but going to come up a good amount because of these products like Stochastics. So not getting any Jaden doubles here, really. Goddard. I think, look, this is a hot take, and people won't agree with me, I'm sure, and I think the projections, the math might get dicey. I think a Jaden, Terry, Noah Brown, Brian Robinson trio can hit today. And I think this could be the way that Jaden chalk ends up working in a way that people don't expect, because everybody's going to go QB +1 with Jaden. All the sim tools are going to give you QB +1. Just overstacking him and assuming that he creates pass game production and rushes, I think is something that he's capable of that I don't think the public grasps that he's capable of. With what I'm doing for the Millie Maker, I'm not sure if I'm going to play Jay Daniels at QB, but I would say in the 20 maxes I'm going to be doing, I'll get some Jaden triple stacked. I think will be the move for me. Kyler at QB. Kyler with Kyron Williams, Jordan Mason, Deontay, Greg Dortch, Michael Wilson, Brock Bowers, James Conner, Texans. So if you're playing Kyler, the Sims want you to directly leverage against Marvin Harrison, it looks like, for at least these top lineups. Harrison gets into this one with Kyler, Bijan, Chuba, Harrison, Godwin, Michael Wilson, Gesicki, Najee, and Broncos. Interesting. Honestly, this one's kind of fun. You're getting the leverage on Higgins, getting the leverage on Harrison. Still think Harrison's the best play on the team with Higgins. Higgins probably number 2. I get the logic. It is an Ertz revenge spot. I don't know if that matters that much. Ertz is not getting red zone targets enough, but like he's fine enough to play. I wouldn't force my way there or anything. Deshaun lineups. We're climbing through here. Deshaun, Kyron, Najee, Rashee Rice, Amari Cooper, Deontay, Jordan Akins, Jordan Mason, Rams. Again, still won't play Jordan Akins anywhere. I get why the Sims would want you to put him in. But I do like Amari Cooper. We talked last week. Amari Cooper was one guy I highlighted where I would have thought every air yards buy low model to be on him. I don't know if they were. He ends up hitting in a big way. He's getting such a crush of overall like volume coming his way. 9.7 targets a game with 14.5 air yards per target. 2.7 deep targets a game. 1 red zone intended touch a game. 0.3 inside the 10-yard line per game. Like, I don't know about the Deshaun part of it, but I still think Amari Cooper slept on too much. And to me, an Amari Cooper, Brock Bowers pairing, I don't think is crazy. Let's look at Minshew. Gardner Minshew with Bijan, Najee, Rashee Rice, Deontay, Tucker and Bowers, Jordan Mason and Texans. Give me a QB +2 with the bring back. Here we go. All right. Gardner Minshew, Breece Hall, Kyron. So you're getting loading up at RB. Amari Cooper, Deontay Johnson, Trey Tucker, Brock Bowers. So if you're going to get a Gardner stack, it seems like Trey Tucker and Bowers is the move. A little bit of Jacoby and Bowers too, but the Sims are giving you more Trey Tucker, which honestly, to another play, this is like the Jahan Dotson concept. You're getting so much Trey Tucker and getting a good amount of Brock Bowers that Jacoby Myers probably becomes a better play just through the inertia of that. And I think that's worth highlighting. Chiefs. It was our last game on the main slate, right? Your last game on the main slate, and I can finally free you guys from the curse of having to hang out with me on a Sunday morning. Patrick Mahomes, Bijan Robinson, Chuba Hubbard, Rashee Rice, Deontay, Paris Campbell, Kelsey, Najee, Patriots. I think we saw that one up top. QBs +2 are the top 4 ROI lineups. QB +2 with the bring back here. Mahomes, Mason, Chuba, Rashee Rice, Deontay Johnson, Paris Campbell, Kelsey, J.K. Dobbins bring back, and Panthers. I think Dobbins is an interesting play today. If you fade the Chiefs and play Dobbins, nobody's going to be on him this week, and the workload was about as good as it's been this entire year. And our last one here, the stack you've all been waiting to see, Justin Herbert stacks. Not a single one with a positive ROI. QB +2 here with Herbert, Kyron, Josh Jacobs, Jefferson, Deontay. Ladd McConkey makes it. Hayden Hurst makes it, which he's no worse of a play than some of the other tight ends we talked about. Brian Robinson Jr., Chargers D. Herbert, Brees, Najee, Nico, Diggs, Drake London, Goddard, Hurst. All right. These teams suck. That's basically that. I guess my real final takes here before I let you guys go. Number one, please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. That matters a lot for me here. Of course, I'm a solo proprietor trying to make it work. Check out Stochastic. Get 15% off. Promo code SPLASH on there. Gets you 15% off. Link in the description too. Solver, no discount, but it does support the show. If you check out the link in the description there, gives me attribution for it, which they give me a fee for, and it does help me out here to keep doing this every day. My biggest takeaways for this slate are going to be, number one, you're going to get a lot of Paris Campbell on Stochastic. Number two, you're going to get a lot of Eli Higgins on ETR. So balance that out accordingly. I think Higgins, are to say what play I like more, it's probably Higgins. Paris Campbell, I think there is the direct lever of Jahan Dotson, but that's the main thing I would say for those guys. There's going to be a lot of chalk congregating around Campbell and Goddard, I think. And look, you play something that's not that from the Eagles, then you're probably on a different pathway, or just fade the Eagles entirely. But the Eagles are coming up everywhere. Besides that, Bijan everywhere in Stochastic lineups. I don't necessarily agree with that, but he's coming up everywhere. Najee Harris, I've warned about that. I think it's a slate, guys, to me, where there's one really obvious thing, which is the Commanders-Arizona game. I think trying to lean on that, get creative around that. Then you maybe take a Dotson, maybe you take Jacoby Myers, like try to lever against the plays people are going to a lot. I think that's the approach today. It's how I'm going to definitely treat some amount of lineups. But no matter what you're playing today, I wish you guys the best of luck. Appreciate the chat hanging out. Appreciate all of our new friends here. Appreciate our guy Junker in the chat. Glad to see him here. Sammy, thank you guys for hanging out today. No matter what you're playing tonight, I do hope it hits for you guys. So I'll be back tomorrow for the showdown. Appreciate all you hanging out with me. And maybe Aeneas, right? Maybe they combine their powers together just for you, Who's Your Devo. But I'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m., guys. Appreciate you hanging out. Go watch something else. See you soon. Hit the like button before you go. And good luck. Bye-bye.